they might be the best team in college football. That was Dusty Javorshek on a Freebird Monday here on Dog Post. Thanks for our buddies from Freebird up in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Talking about the Georgia Bulldogs, they might be the best team in college football. I think there's a case to be made for it. I don't know if it's so hard to know for sure. Like, Indiana beat Ohio State. Does that mean for sure that Indiana is better than Ohio State? I think, I don't know why you would say otherwise. I mean, just beat them. Like, what's so hard about this? Do we need to have a Miami Notre Dame discussion and go all night long and weeks long with saying one thing when it was quite clearly obvious another thing happened? Those two teams played. They have not been tested a ton this season. Georgia has. And that's kind of, I think, the difference right now that's out there is that these SEC schools particularly, a lot about them. I think honestly, I think Ole Miss is the one that you know the least about. But they beat their first round opponent by 100 earlier this year or whatever it is. So, the betting odds are pretty tight between Ohio State and Indiana, but Ohio State is very narrowly the favorite. And then about double the odds till you get to Georgia. So Ohio State is 220, Indiana at 290, and then Georgia at 550, then Oregon at 800, Texas Tech 900, Texas A&M at 1,700, then 2,200 for Alabama and Miami and Ole Miss, Oklahoma at plus 5,000, James Madison at plus 50,000, Tulane at plus 75,000. I'll get back to you when the Notre Dame number comes out. I think you can definitely tell that this Georgia team has got what they need to go right now. I mean, they're playing well. Are they the best team in the country? I think that's what the playoffs for. I think if you want to make that argument, I saw a lot of people yesterday who are smart college football TV folks, and there are some of them for sure. Roddy Jones. I don't think it was Sam Ocho. Roddy Jones. It's sort of that crew. They had a lot of them picking Georgia. Not a lot, but several of them picking Georgia to win the national championship. I don't think it's outlandish to say that. I think there are messages and moments in seasons, and it was not clear that Ohio State was where they needed to be until they beat the absolute dog stuffing out of Tennessee last year. Until that point, they had everything they needed, but they weren't playing right. They weren't playing well. They were, Michigan was pushing them around, and that hurt them. This season, to me, I keep going back to Mississippi State for Georgia. And, they had played two rivalry games that were pretty close. All three of their rivalry games this year with Tech Auburn and the Gators, they were all closer than people would have wanted. I mean, I think they were all within 10 points. They were all within 10 points, if my memory serves correct. I mean, they beat State worse than that. They beat Alabama worse than that. They beat Texas worse than that. They just, the rivalry games were kind of tough this year. It was what it was. But from the State game on, Georgia has been, I wouldn't say a different team, but they have been noticeably better. They've been playing better. And that matters, y'all. I mean, you want to play well. And, what are you practicing for if you don't want to play well? I mean, the whole point of playing these games is to play well and to get the job done. Georgia's been doing that lately. I mean, the closest game they've had since State, from the State game on, it has really felt like 2021, 22, and 23. It has not felt like 2024. And I wrote something today over on Dawg Post. You can check it out. Going to dogpost.com. And the numbers statistically are very close to the 2021 team in terms of run defense and run offense. They're very similar. Georgia has improved by over 100. It's been 113 yards that they've improved by. 113 yards offensively and defensively. That's been the improvement this season from last. Think about that. That's more than the length of a football. That's almost end of end zone to end of end zone. You're 7 yards from that. It was astonishing. It was quite an achievement from that group. Speaking of the 21 team, we've got this. I've got some of these. I don't have tons of these. This is a Keely Ringo sign. You can probably see it right there. I'm not a weatherman. Keely Ringo sign right there. Easy enough for me to do. You can get this today and have it before Christmas. I sent a couple out earlier this week. Jump on that. I sent some of these out as well. This is from Keely as well. Dawg Struction. I am running out of all of these. I think I will be able to have some after Christmas. I'm not sure. So definitely the prints are running out that he signed over at Red Zone. And I talked to Scott earlier today of Scott and Mindy at the store. And make sure you're getting your orders in over there because it's the 8th. Kind of want to, if you're doing orders, consider going now to Red Zone because there's some stuff they're running a little lower on than they would like. And like right now is the time to order things so that they don't have to order it in order to get there before Christmas and all this stuff. It's a process, let me tell you. So get those orders in today. I think if you say Georgia's the best team in college football right now, I don't think that's a stupid comment. I think that's a completely legitimate comment. I think that we know a lot about Georgia, and what we know now is they can win in blowouts, they can win in tight games, they can routine you, and they can beat teams that beat them. We know those things. We don't know if Ohio State can win a close game, do we? They lost to Indiana, and they beat Texas, excuse me. With Indiana, I think Indiana has had a more challenging situation than Ohio State because they played Oregon. That's it. Not more or less than that. And I do think, with Dan and those guys out there with the Ducks, they certainly look like they have the capability to do it. I think, to some degree, if you're Ohio State and you start talking about the matchup with Georgia, you'd better be willing to win and wanting to win a defensive struggle. I don't know if Ohio State matches up as well with Georgia as people think they do as it relates to the run game. I mean, Ohio State is a great team. Let's not go stupid here. They would probably be favored over Georgia, etc. But them running it is not always a given. Honestly, nobody is. I mean, if you want to stop the run, you can stop the run. And Indiana, I think, kind of stopped the run. But, I mean, Ohio State's not an unbelievable run team. Okay? Run defense, they're pretty good at that. Okay? They're not as good as Georgia, but they're pretty good at that. They have not had a lot of close games. They have not had a lot of close games. And, they're 1-1 in close games. That's where Ohio State's at. As it relates to Indiana, the only undefeated team left that I can think of. They I don't know what happened with ODU, but they didn't play well at the beginning of the season. They had a fight with Iowa that they won on the road. They beat Oregon. And then from that stage forward, with the exception of the Penn State game, they've kind of played better. They can really score on you, but I think the problem in the Big Ten is you don't know how good some of these teams are. Some of the Big Ten schools are pretty bad. Okay, just as a league, they're very top heavy. The 3 teams that are in it, if it's 3, if I'm not mistaken, they're good. You've got 3 of the top 5 are Big Ten schools. That's probably right, to be honest with you. But after that, like the drop off from 3 to 18 or whatever it is in the Big Ten is enormous. And you saw with, South Carolina, who's the second worst team in the SEC, they probably should have beaten Alabama, and to which people will say, well, that means, Georgia's not real good. Well, they beat Texas by 25 at home. Ohio State beat them by 7. You can go round and round about this stuff all you want to. How do people look? I mean, right now, Georgia looks as good, if not better, than everybody. I think Notre Dame was playing well, but they were kind of falling into the Big Ten trap as well of, man, you're beating Stanford's skull in, and you're beating Pitt pretty good. But how good are those teams? Who is your best win? It's SC. That's it. Who is Ohio State's best win? I mean, is it Texas? It might be Texas. So that's not a lot to fall back on at the end of the day. That's the problem with all this. You can always find a problem. If you want to find a problem, it's like getting into a fight in high school in DeKalb County. You want to get into a fight? You can get into a fight now. I mean, that's not an issue. But the question is, are you doing it the right way? I mean, like with Ohio State, I would imagine their best win is Michigan, excuse me. It's probably Texas. It's probably Texas. So that's their best win by 7. They had a really good win over Michigan, though. Like, that should not be undersold. But, you know, like Purdue is bad. UCLA is bad. Rutgers is bad. Minnesota is not good. Washington's okay. But like Grambling, Ohio, it's not a great schedule. It's not a challenging schedule. We still need to learn a lot about Ohio State. Could they get tripped up in the first round, in the quarterfinals? They could, but Georgia could too. I mean, that's where we're at right now. Who's the best team in the country? I would still probably say Indiana, but I'm not, I'm not there with a bullet. Like we're looking at it and checking it out. It's probably Indiana, but it's not obvious that it's Indiana. I think Ohio State didn't play well against Indiana. Was that because of Indiana or was that because of Ohio State? We'll just see as this thing piles along. Thanks for watching.